So, Bill, what can you tell us right now about Emily Ryan's status for the at least 2 upcoming games?
She's going to try and practice today. Did not practice yesterday. We'll practice a little bit today. And if she feels okay, then she'll give it a shot tomorrow. So good news is she's going to give it a shot today, and she feels a lot better. So we're definitely trending in the right direction. So we're definitely hopeful she'll go tomorrow.
How important is it for your team to kind of take these next 2 games and play loose and find who they are before? Obviously, you don't want to look ahead, but those 2 games coming up after these 2 are big opponents.
Yeah, this is, you don't get very often back-to-back home games, which is important. These 2 games end the first half. It will be 9 games into the Big 12 season. So, I think it's one of those things where there's a great opportunity in front of us, and I think our players understand that, and back in class now, and hopefully you get into some normal rhythm of being a student athlete again. And but obviously, as you look at a schedule, the amount of times, and my message to our players is the amount of games they have left here are going away quickly, and you want to make sure that you enjoy those moments, and we have 2 great chances this week.
You'd mentioned how unique a challenge West Virginia is, particularly defensively, and you figure, okay, you can adjust, but they adjust too, right? So you've handled their pressure really well early, it felt like, in that game, and I'd imagine they said, okay, well, we'll try this, and then it worked. Is that part of what makes it so difficult against them, that they're ever evolving in the way that they pressure the basketball?
Yeah, they come at you in a lot of different ways. They have the personnel that can do it. They're ultra aggressive and not afraid to take some chances. And like I said after the game, it's one of those systems that it's really good. It's great at home, and when it's going well, it impacts. It just wears you down physically, mentally. It's hard to prepare for. So, I thought early we were fine. End of the first quarter, not very good. I thought the second half, we didn't give up a lot of live ball ones, which was good. But the biggest thing when you play against a pressing team that we've tried to instill in our players is you have to be really good offensively as far as making shots, and then that helps your transition defense. And then if you set your defense, it's a lot harder to press if they're not taking the ball out of the net. If you're taking the ball out of the net all day, you're in for a long one. And we had too many of those moments, I thought. But it kind of one plays off of the other a lot more when you play that kind of team, I think.
It feels like Tanky had some moments. It feels like Addie's starting to, you talk about how unselfish she is and needs to be a little bit more. It seems like you're starting to see her attack a little bit more. Are those a couple of positives to see some developments, that's going to help you, particularly in the offensive end?
Yeah, I thought Addie was real aggressive, especially in the second half. We put the ball in her hands a lot more to try and create some plays. I thought she was really good. And I thought Tanky and Reagan Wilson, like I've said many times since then, if you would have said you're going to play West Virginia at West Virginia and 60 minutes are going to come from your freshmen, that probably would have been a stunning comment. But they both were really good. And I thought Elisa Williams was really good in one of her better games. I've said this before, I'm not a huge plus-minus guy on the stat sheet. I think it's a tool, but I don't know that it really indicates how the game goes sometimes. But I think in her case, it was exactly right. I think she was plus 12, and when she was in the game, a lot of good things happened. So hopefully for her, that's what with all of our kids that are in certain roles. We've said this many times. It's like, can that get you into the next game and show some development and have a level of confidence? So that was encouraging that we had some players that, were not, ones that we especially count on for a lot of minutes and production to all play really well.
When you break down how Wilson and Tanky played when you kind of dissect, and come to that they played really well. What all are you looking at? What stood out outside of just what we look at when it's like points,
No,
rebounds,
I
and
think the biggest thing is, are you someone that is invested in the sense of, the term I use with our players a lot is, are you interested or are you invested? And I think, are you going to compete? And when it doesn't go well for you, are you going to pout, make excuses, whatever? Or are you just going to say, hey, I'm competing, I'm doing the best I can, I'm trying to do what I do, well, and I'm trying to help my team. And I mean, it sounds really simple, but are you just going to compete when it's not going well? And sometimes that just doesn't happen, and especially doesn't happen for a young player. And and I think with both of them, they really their personalities are completely different. I think Reagan is a talker. Reagan is is always trying to communicate, but I both of them just they want to play, and I don't think the moment is too big for them. I mean, it's too big for them as far as from an experience level, but it's not like they don't want to go out there and play. And I think it's more, are you giving us the best chance in that moment with what we're asking you to do? And I think both of them did that on Sunday.
how do you tell that difference between interested and invested?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I think a lot of it is for me, and I'm not saying it's for everyone, but for me, it's your body language. It's when you come out of a game, do you listen to the coaches? Are you making excuses for what you didn't do? Are you following the game plan? Do you come out of a timeout and execute the things that we just talked about? I mean, nothing crazy. For me, it's very much a feel thing, and you can tell by the look in someone's eye. I think I've done this long enough where you can tell if someone is their eyes are big and they're nodding, or they looking down at the floor. Do they have a blank look on their face? Are they feeling sorry for themselves? I mean, it's nothing. There's no nuance to it. It's just, but I do think it's a huge part of the growth of a player and the growth of a team over time. If you find those kids that are just like, hey man, I'm gonna play and I'm gonna compete, and if it doesn't go right, I'm not gonna point fingers. I'm gonna do something. What are you doing to impact success? Sometimes it's really simple, the way we do it anyway.